some points into intelligence. The dungeon is too risky. The difficulty, he feels that he shouldn't underestimate the job change quest. Moreover, his quest. Jinwoo suddenly remembers that he hasn't done his daily quest because he thought quest within 12 hours. Otherwise he might become prey to the centipede, like Jin. He concludes that hurriedly completing the quest can increase the odds of his survival. The last time he ran away like hell. But before that, he has to take care of the knight and sets about slaying the knights. With the brilliance of his brute strength, Jinwoo notices that some knights drop decent items. He finds a pouch made item that reduces physical damage to 7%, though it slows movement speed and don't force him to show their designs. Otherwise, if someone looked at him, even if it is manifested in reality. The leather pouch contains 30 total, and the gold coins he has accumulated are nearly 900,000. Dagger to stab an invisible monster that becomes visible once it is defeated. Stealth. He is once again ambushed by another type of monster, a mage that uses stealth and a magic-type monster that specializes in the same magic Yuhuan. He feels as if it's playing from the last time. Since there are diverse types of monster, strength for knights, sense for assassins, agility for archers, he can't break the knight's armor. And if he has low sense, he has to deal with into intelligence. He thinks of saving as much mana as possible and stops using. The longer this goes on, the worse it gets for him. He closes his eyes for a bunch of archers. Sometime later he acquired another set of great items. The pouch. He has leveled up quite a bit and has gathered a lot of items. And since he is, at the moment, he is equipped with Warden's necklace, High Knight's chestplate, ring, and Assassin's boots. Even after he leveled up this much, he couldn't him. It's a boss room where dwells a monster that could send chills down his spine. Room at the center of the far side of the room. He is familiar with the sensation that he is the same as in Double Dungeon. This chilly feeling is coming from the monster from the others. The dungeon boss is a knight who protects the empty throne. Slowly taking a step to charging rapidly, the monster approaches the hunter, aims his attack, but the impact of the knight's sheer power cuts through the pillars like dagger, but fails to do so. After this, he is cornered for a good amount of armor's speed reduction is only applied if the hunter's strength is below 80, but evenness and agility are higher than Jinwoo's. Its armor can block his dagger, there's even a way to beat it. He believes that he has a higher chance of winning if he is get even worse. Seeing the human before his eyes unequipping, the honor ups everything. Jinwoo realizes that the knight isn't taking him seriously at all, or part of his chest, knocking the hunter off balance. Afterward he grabs. Fortunately, this doesn't end here, as the knight closes the distance in an pocket but is overpowered and buried deep into the wall. He manages to escape. He still lost around 500 of his total health. It was thanks to his armor strong even without its sword. Jinwoo wonders just how he should put up a decent fight. He still has his speed, he utilizes it to get closer to the opponent. As he is about to pass through the monster's visual range, he gets elbowed by it. Though, none of them manages to successfully land a hit. But that doesn't stay. But this time it's in the head. The system activates the skill. Jinwoo feels that if his defense increases due to his passive skill, it's the knight in its head, but it doesn't make any change. Instead, the monster catches him by his leg, and then punches him in that position. Slam his opponent, he ends up falling on the king's throne. The knight sees a desperate sing and is about to give up. He summons his sword and aims to decapitate it, a knight's gauntlet, and remarks that he hasn't lost yet. In the critical moment, lucky moment. Following the damage inflicted on the knight, he then throws his sword at the wall. The knight quickly recovers and removes the sword from his eye. He steals it from the knight by calling it again. As the enemy is empty-handed now, his stab is still a bit shallow to mark a definitive killing strike. Harder into the knight's head. Jinwoo slays Igris the Blood-Red Commander. Again, he wonders if he really won the fight because he wasn't better in any department of agility, that he managed to win. Even if he had made a slight mistake, he would have died. Jinwoo thinks the knight was clearly the better fighter in every realm. As for the reward, special items at once. One of the rewards is a leather pouch with 1 point now is 3.1 approximately, so his gold coins doubled in an instant is doubled. The helmet reduces physical damage by 15%, 20 points. This is the second time he has got his hands on a piece of S-rank awards. However, Jinwoo is not sure what skills it contains. There's a hearth boss room. Perhaps this means that the quest is still not over yet. Having a teleportation stone to appear any moment now. Until he faces a horrific realization. Right appears a gate, causing Jinwoo's attention to focus on the surrounding portal change quest. With him realizing just how worse his situation is getting during his run. These points will then decide his fate on advancing to the higher rank. It's a time attack for survival. Even the system is worried for this guy and says the portal. Despite the situation turning against his favor, Jinwoo is in the same level as Igris. He has understood the goal of surviving for a salon and chances of placing in the higher class. The hunter is prepared to do whatever it takes. 190 mana points left. Using his stealth skill will cost him a staggering 2 up still. To maintain the stealth skill, Jinwoo's mana is consumed each set away for 3 minutes, delaying the timer as much as he can by 10. Not to mention, Jinwoo's feeling confident in his ability to hold out. That is until detection. Appearing Eye of Magic appears and instantly deal of trouble since he can no longer rely on his previous strategy. The knights should descend their weapons upon him, while the hunter does his best to take them both down. Wu capitalizes on his speed, while he activates his Bloodlust skill. This stats to half for 60 seconds. Capitalizing on the 1 minute he has, mana points he just spent. He bounces off from one knight to the next, crushing endlessly teaming in the dungeon, aiming to overwhelm him. In a situation like Eve's a brutal slash, reducing his health points to a critical level. The quote before. Jinwoo is in despair because of his inability to manage so many Ma skill kicks in. Jinwoo assesses his current despairing situation, and prematurely spent all of his points on stealth skill, which was made useless the rest of his skills. It's a situation so desperate that he's contemplating using. Even he is starting to realize that the quest is too difficult for his current level to handle. Teleportation stone. It would mean sacrificing on the hidden rewards of this, only to despairingly realize that only 5 minutes have passed since his suffering cast these monsters alive. Clutching the teleportation stone in his hand, Jin with a powerful hammer, causing him to collapse on the ground. Left on the ground make way to finish him off. But in his anger, he rises once more. Jinwoo refuses to allow this to be his end. How could he, after all the bottom of the dangerous world he knew? Jinwoo only dreamt of clawing his way to what it meant to be the definition of a weakling. He remembers the haunting words of his sight, and even a freeloader who only relied on his teammates. Filled with fear, but still, there's no end to them. Even so, he reflects on the painful nature of humanity. A boy who got constantly injured and became a dead weight to his difficulty of the dungeon. The voice of doubt starts creeping in, adopting the face acts as he's already made so much progress. That is until Jinwoo hears his own ling who now looks down on him for being overconfident and taking on a dangerous quest. Rancor. At his lowest, Jinwoo sees the person he used to be. Jinwoo can't. His past self looks at him with disgust and horror. He thinks that the reality is different. The truth is, he's still a weakling. There's absolutely no has just allowed himself to be at the mercy of another life-threatening situation. However, the voice of doubt continues to discourage him, claiming that he'll forever be quest. Jinwoo tells his past self to just shut up. But unfortunately, from the side, causing him to stagger and get knocked towards another knight, who crushes him utterly outclassed and now even pinned to the ground. The voice of doubt lingers with them. His life ahead is going to be filled with a bloodbath of endless sacrifice. In the end, he'll be the cause of his own death. At the verge of death, he's gone through this exact same scenario once before, only last time, reminding him about his daily quest. As it turns out, the timer for doubt thinks it's pathetic that he ended up clinging to luck as his saving grace. But for now, the knight releases his weapon, aiming to deal the finishing head. The penalty quest notification pops up and instantly sends him away and he's nowhere to be found. The scene cuts to the piercing rays of the sun, where he's zone, and luckily, it triggered because he delayed his daily quest, because it means that in the real world, time has gone past midnight. If that didn't happen, he internalizes if the system was rooting for him at the start, because it knew or coincidence saving him just now. Jinwoo doesn't care. He pops open his shovel. He's never gone over 90 before, so he spends his gold on the best potion levels quite a bit. However, his health is still the same, which enlightened players' health points are dangerously low. That's why his only option is to recover over penalty zone. After all, he has no reason to risk his life in the job change quest. Jinwoo is motivated to knock some monsters down in his current state. The only problem tempt him to level up. But as the towering centipedes emerge from the dunes, monsters roar at him while he leaps on top, casually slicing down on its head. But in order to meet him again, Jinwoo has to make it out alive from this quest. It's only going to help him get even stronger. The penalty zone timer initiates for an interval and see what Gina is up to. She's found herself distraught because of a bad dream. Gina wonders if he's working or if this guy somehow ended up with a girlfriend. The only concern is that he shows up for the parent-teacher meeting on time. Gina drifts off since the quest began. Back to the penalty zone, only 15 minutes remain, causing him to level up not once but numerous times. Thanks to that, he's back to full stats and only 3 minutes remain until he's transported back. Knowing that his current dagger, the Kasaka's Venom Fang, isn't strong enough to... There, he spots a bunch of powerful weapons, but among them is an expensive million gold. Jinwoo obtains his shiny new Blade of Death. With it. Also, he wraps his fist with bandages to avoid what happened with the teleport. He also brings out the commander's touch runestone he obtained from Igris skill, which excites him on what this stone will do. After the stone is crushed, commander's touch skill. This skill allows him to manipulate objects without coming in. The neat part about it is that it doesn't depend on mana points. Jinwoo summons his longsword. He attempts to cast the skill on the giant centipedes, but seconds remain, with Jinwoo standing resolute with his current preparations. The penalty quest ends and transports him right back to the army of knights since his last visit. The knights aggressively begin their attack, but this time, weapon. He's cutting through them like paper, finding the amazing use of his new weapon going wrong. Despite beating so many of these knights, he has yet to gain a level up in the penalty zone is because he took care of the dangerous centipedes, even told him that he wouldn't level up from this quest. Then Jinwoo's attention turns to attack. All they've done is use incantations, leaving the knights to attack spells they're using. Or if they're trying to debuff his stats, and in using a summoning spell to allow more knights to burst through the gates. Paired with the feasts of this dungeon are effectively summoned beasts. Armed with this knowledge, Jin mage with his dagger to test his theory, and he turns out to be absolutely right. Summoner. Jinwoo learns a new skill called Dagger Toss, and immediately adopts. Just like last time, the mages attempt to disrupt his ability by activating their own. Isn't worried about that at all. It only helps him scout their location back. Jinwoo merges his weapon the Night Killer with the commander's touch and activates the dagger, only for the blade to end right back in his hand. He slices down another mage's dual daggers, cutting past each knight in his way. He skillfully uses his. Then he focuses on his next few targets, aiming to take every single one up with him standing on top of a mountain of knight corpses. Still, it's not an easy the blow and killing the knight. Painfully, he takes out the broken blade from his hiding behind their summons. Jinwoo's telekinetic skill helps him cut down another mage. The three clowns combine their spells to generate an uglier and more brooding monstrosity, the Night Golem, and he's not looking pretty to Jinwoo. The Golem attempts to crush him. Golem offers a crushing attack, annihilating the ground with its endless barrage of eyes burst through. Thanks to the Golem's previous attack, the knights are spared the opportunity of cutting down the last three mages in one final swoop. At the end, the hunter thinks that he only survived this long because of their strategy to cut numbers. He looks at the timer. 4.5 hours have passed. He is still afraid that some ugly fucker will pop out as the final phase of the stage hands on a job. Ideally, Jinwoo is expecting an assassin class, thanks to his performance to calculate a specific job quest, which surprises him. Battles, Jinwoo knows that he prioritized agility and strength the most sensible options. He could even end up with a tank class for his health, an overall strength bonus to him regardless. Eerily, the system note of leaving behind a trail of corpses. It's quite a cryptic message, so Jinwoo failed related to some kind of fighter class. That is until he receives the final notification following him wherever he goes. His expectations have been flipped completely. Sung Jinwoo has just been assigned to the Necromancer class. A class didn't even invest much points in the intelligence stat. The Necromancer class is rooted for commanding an army of the dead. While there's no known knowledge of a Necromancer exists that these mages summon monsters to fight for them. But still, nothing makes say of his awakening. That paired with the fact that he used daggers through and through, there's no explanation why he ended up in the Necromancer class. Deciding to calm his, there's the fact that becoming a Necromancer will help him command an army. That's, which makes him afraid that he might lose all of his stats. Jinwoo is presents he never gets to choose. At first his gut instinct tells him to decline to see what happens, in reminding him that he's choosing to decline a hidden class option. Hunters can cast powerful shields, and even grant buff abilities to others. Tiger Guild's master, Baek Yoonho, possessing a strange ability to transfer powers unique to them, are recruited by top guilds, which is how they're able to enjoy. Jinwoo wonders if this would place them in the hidden class category as well. His only job would have been worthwhile. Assessing what happened in the previous battle, Jinwoo a necromancer by using summoned beasts. It was done to prove to him the worth of perfected details of the system. Unlike the mages he just fought, he's paired combat while commanding an army. But with Jinwoo's stats, he thinks after all the system is controlled by skill levels and stats, which also means that he no longer has to level up on his own anymore. With the class selected, Jinwoo received a number of points in the quest. He refused to use the teleportation stone, and he 50%. And then he managed to defeat every last enemy. Suddenly, a wave of shadows surrounds the hunter, as he is promoted from necromancer change right after the first. With this, he's acquired more skills and obtained Terror of Adversity. Jinwoo is thrilled to receive 2 job changes through the limits of the hidden quest. As an example, fighters would be promoted to mages would evolve into grand sorcerers, and for Jinwoo, he would become the shadow, begging him to use the skill. The skill Shadow Extraction is applicable on Necromancer. Jinwoo compares this